So recently in the news, we've seen that a Coca-Cola company, Simply Tropical Juice, has had a lawsuit leveled against it, alleging that it has high levels of PFAS or PFOA in the water or in the product that they're drinking. The question is, what are these PFASs or PFOAs? They're a family of about 12,000 different substances that are not regulated by the EPA right now. They are perfluorinated compounds, which are used to make nonstick coatings like on cookware, carpeting, curtains, clothing. Just about everything that we have has some level of PFAS in it. And it's very widely used. These are called forever chemicals because they don't go away. And up until recently, we had no idea that these chemicals were precursors or could cause cancer and many other things. There's still a lot of research going on, but allegedly the EPA is going to be setting some new standards for this very soon. What we do know is this is not a good thing to have in your water supply. That's the bad news. The good news is we know how to take it out. To give you a little bit more insight on the PFAS, and there's 12,000 of them, so we can call them all sorts of names that are about this long, but I'm just going to call the whole group of them PFAS. That's easier that way. These forever chemicals. And the government for years, fire departments for years, the Air Force, the Navy has used these chemicals to put out fires. They use this to put out forest fires. If you see them dropping things on a fire burning, many times what they're dropping on that is a product that contains PFAS because it puts out the fire much quicker. The problem, like I said, though, is these products or these chemicals stay stay forever. They don't have a life. They don't have a half-life. They're there. So that's kind of scary because if they cause cancer, then that can be a problem. It's very early into research in this, and the science is not fully developed yet. I mean, science is developed by challenging it over and over again until you come up with a repetitive formula that you can show proof that it causes these problems. And that process is still happening. The good thing is we can sit here and we can say, well, I'm just going to wait for the government to solve the problem. Or you can take the bull by the horns and you can solve the problem yourself. And there's a number of products on the market today that are very effective at removing PFAS from the water supply, including reverse osmosis, carbon filtration, granular activated carbon filtration. A lot of products will take it out, but they're not certified to take it out. And you might say, well, what do you mean they're not certified? I mean, if it takes it out, it takes it out. What you have to understand is to get a product certified to remove PFAS or arsenic or any other chemical sometimes can be very, very expensive. It can run from 10 to 50,000 to 100,000 to 200,000, depending upon the conditions you want to test it under and what type of efficacy you want to obtain. So sometimes until the public is just clamoring for a product that doesn't exist, sometimes it's very, very expensive, especially for smaller companies to get a product certified. The large companies, the 3Ms, and of course 3M is one of the companies that made the PFAS in the beginning. So they're also making filters and things that take out the PFAS. Kind of interesting. One of the things that we're finding a lot of people are concerned about is not just PFAS, but a multitude of other chemicals that are in the water. Since World War II, there's been over 30,000 new chemicals that have been invented by mankind all over the world. Many of these are ending up in our water supplies: dioxin, PCE, TCE, rocket fuel, MTBE, and PFAS. A lot of people are concerned about these things in their water because it's just not one thing. It can be a multitude of things. There can be a number of contaminants in a water supply. And so more and more times people are becoming very concerned about this and wanting to have whole house reverse osmosis systems. 5 years ago, we didn't sell whole house reverse osmosis systems. I mean, occasionally we did. And I think the first one I sold was probably close to 20 years ago, but it was a mansion. It was a very unusual situation. It was very expensive. Nobody had whole house reverse osmosis systems then. Now we sell a number of whole house reverse osmosis systems every day. Used to be reverse osmosis was very wasteful. It wasted maybe 4 gallons for every gallon that it made. Now with the advent of technology, we only waste 1 gallon for every 4 gallons we make. So it's much more efficient. But we're also working on new technologies that include carbon filtration and other types of absorption that will take out the PFAS and not put it back in the water supplies. But of course, then we have to dispose of the media properly. So that becomes a problem too. So if you're concerned about PFAS, have your water tested for it. We can test for PFAS exclusively. It is an expensive test. You can also test for about everything else under the sun, but we've got a test that includes about 119 contaminants that runs around $240 or $50. And it's going to give you a good overview of what's in your water. And then at that point, if you're on city water, you can make a decision as to how you want to treat it. On well water, you also need to make a decision as to how you want to treat it. The city is responsible for your water, but let's face it, our infrastructure is aging in cities. They haven't been up, many of the water pipes, water supplies haven't been updated for years. The city of Chicago still has a number of wood water pipes. Think about that for a minute. Wood water pipes. These are trees that have been hacked in half or 20, 30 feet long and bored out in the center that water runs through. And the water is probably, the pipes are probably 150 years old. A lot of those are decaying and rotting. And so we've got a lot of problems with our infrastructure. And I wouldn't advise you to just sit there and wait for the government to solve the problem if you have the power within yourself to solve your own problem. And if you're on well water, obviously the government isn't responsible for your water, you are. So the short and long answer, the shortest answer to this is don't do anything with your water supply without first having it tested. This falls under the category of measure twice, cut once. And that's what old carpenter told me, measure twice, cut once. Well, we don't say you need to get your water tested twice, but at least get it tested so you know what's in there, so you know how you can effectively remove it. There's lots of companies selling products that they say, this widget here is what you need to solve all your water problems. It's gonna create the best water this side of heaven. Well, it's not quite true. It's site specific, and it depends on what kind of competing contaminants may be in that water supply. For instance, you may be able to take out contaminant A with no problem. But if contaminant B and contaminant C are also there, that filter or whatever you're using to take it out may take out contaminant B and C, but still leave contaminant A. So competing contaminants are very, very important. And this is why a detailed water analysis is the first thing that you need to do when you're considering treating your water. The bad news is there's lots of people out there willing to sell you products, and they're not always certified, and they're not always applied properly. So a couple of things I would advise. Number one, I would check out the company's Better Business Bureau, see if they are BBB accredited, and if they've got an A+ rating, those are necessary. Are they members of the Water Quality Association? Because the Water Quality Association is kind of the board of standards for the water conditioning industry. And to be a member, you have to comply with their code of ethics. Also, are the people certified as certified water specialist or master water specialist? Because I'm old, I've been certified for about 46 years. And so you know that when you're certified, you've passed the exams, that you know what you're talking about. And also when you've been doing this for a long time, it's like Albert Einstein. He developed 10,000 ways that a light bulb didn't work. believe me, in the water treatment business, you're going to do a lot of things that may not work, but I've did that 30 years ago. And so experience comes into play too. Get a water test, deal with a trusted company, and get a guarantee of satisfaction to back up what they're doing for you. This is Mark Timmons, the Water Doctor. I'm the president of U.S. Water Systems. Thanks for watching, and remember, great water starts here.